online marketing, online businesses. Like,
Yep.
if you have a business that's
That
online,
sells
you're making
information.
money online, that's selling information or e-commerce. It doesn't
Sure.
matter. Like if you have a business and you're selling things, it's the exact same thing as manufacturing, and there is no difference. It's the same thing as it is the same exact thing. There is no difference.
Prove it. No, I'd like,
Okay.
obviously, like, no, I'm sure you can. So obviously I spent 11 years in manufacturing, so I have a very intimate knowledge of that.
Yes.
And so and now I've spent a decent amount of time, not quite 11 years yet, in the online marketing and sales world, right? So
Well, and I also believe
there's definitely similarities.
there's similarities, but they're the exact same thing. And here's the reason why. And I'm going to go even a step further than that.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm ready. Let's go.
It's not only that they're the exact same thing. It is the fundamental reason why, if someone is starting an online business or has an online coaching business or has some kind of business online or wants to develop one or has struggled years trying to develop one,
Yep.
if they're failing, there's a 99% chance they're failing because they're not treating it the same way as they would treat a manufacturing business.
Okay.
And that's the reason why they're failing in a large.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm ready.
let's go back to the idea of what we're first talking about when we were talking about throwing rocks.
Sure.
Okay, so there's a target over there.
It's an extension.
Okay? But we're not just extending; we're extending towards a target, a specific place.
Yep.
Right. That's what spears were.
Yep.
That's what arrows are. That's what slingshots are. That's what guns are.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally all those things.
Yeah.
Right. That's what
Missiles
boats are. That's what
Boats.
missiles are.
Cars.
That's what cars are.
Okay.
Like everything that
Yep.
we develop is that. Right. A wrench is that in a sense. Right. It's extending
Your
grip,
strength.
your strength and your torque.
Yeah.
Right, your ability, your leverage.
Yeah.
Right, and to hold in a certain way. So it's an extended towards a specific purpose in a specific way. So in manufacturing, what manufacturing does is it does the same thing in the sense that it takes something that would take a long time to make, and it hypercompresses it.
Okay.
Okay, right. So Milton Friedman had this great example of a pencil.
Okay.
Like, you can't make this.
Yeah, no.
Right? Like the different components of it come from different countries.
Yep.
Right? Like the graphite that goes through it has
Yeah.
to be run through machines.
Yeah.
And so there's like even though it's worth almost nothing, you could not
Yeah, you can't make it.
You can't make it.
Just like you can't make a plastic bag.
And exactly, just like you can't make a plastic bag.
You literally cannot.
Right?
Like it's just not a thing. You're never going to do that
That's right.
in your house. It's not possible.
That's right.
I mean, it's possible, but the capital involved would be terrible.
Okay. So let's take an online coach.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's go back and let's first talk about the pencil.
Sure.
Okay. So now someone could get a piece of graphite. Someone could get a piece of wood. Someone could cut out a piece of wood with a knife. Right. It wouldn't be quite as straight and fancy, but they could carve it out. They could whittle one, then cut a little hole down the middle, get some graphite, push it back in there, glue it back together, get a piece of rubber, get a little piece of metal to it. And they could make one. It would take no telling how long. And it wouldn't be the quality that this one is.
Miserable.
They'd probably never want to make it again and never want to use it because they wouldn't never want, right? They'd be like, this is the most valuable thing on it, right? Because of the energy that had to go into it in order to produce it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then no one could ever buy it because
You can't sell it.
you can't sell it because the
Appropriately.
value you had to put into it to make it, no one's going to buy it. Okay. So let's say someone said, okay, I'm going to be an online coach.
Okay.
Well, you could be an online coach and you could sell a coaching program for $5,000 or $1,000 or $500 or something like that. You'd be a personal trainer for $500 a month or something like that. Okay. And the thing about it is they're not going to be able to manufacture. They're not going to be able to scale. They're going to reach a limit. They're going to, in the same way that you reach a limit to what you can produce with the pencil.
Yep.
You're going to reach a limit in the
Yep.
same way. And the only way to scale that and to build that is to start thinking like a manufacturer.
Okay.
And start doing things like a manufacturer.
Okay.
And what does a manufacturer do? Well, they break the individual pieces apart and they manufacture them en masse through automated processes.
And assembly lines and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And
Right.
well, an assembly line is a form of automated process.
Mostly automated, depending on what it is.
Well, originally the first assembly lines were automated in this. The automation was in individual employees that came in.
Yeah.
And so most people wouldn't consider that an automation, but it is. Like
Sure.
in the sense that's its function.
Yeah.
Right? Is there's a bunch of people standing next to each other,
and
doing
it's
their
a
things.
It's a force multiplier.
Yeah,
basically.
I remember listening when I was had my restaurant. This is wild. When I had my restaurant, my food supplier, I was like, how do they because we'd buy these big 40-pound cases, chicken, boneless, skinless chicken. Comes in 40-pound cases. In the restaurant business, that's what it comes. Sometimes you can get 20, but most of the time it's 40. Okay, so you get these things 10 days from production date. You got to use them. It's ready to go. I said, man, these they're all cut. There's no bones in here and stuff like that. It was like, do they have like a machine or something? I was asking my food service provider. He's like, actually, no. I've toured the Tyson facility where they actually pack all this stuff. I said, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, how do they actually do that? He said, you won't believe it. I said, what is it? Tell me.
Yeah.
And he said, there is
A sea of people.
a sea of little old ladies. He said they all have white hair. They're little old ladies, and they're standing there. And he said you should see them work. Like a chicken comes on, and they go whoosh, 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 pieces, throw it in a bucket, whoosh, and then there's another one that's just sorting them all, right? And then there's another, and that's how they get the legs different than the right. Someone's pulling off the skin, this, that, and the other, and they're just boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
And that's an automation process.
It is.
Right? Like this one person, they don't have to switch between different jobs.
Nope.
This person's job is, for example, pull off the skin.
Yeah.
This person's job-
Like my grandfather, he worked at a butcher, like a large scale butcher, and all he did all day was debone halves of beef. So he would literally take 200-pound hunks of beef, take them off, and debone them.
Yep.
Like that was his job. And good Lord, is to this day, his hands are like vice grips.
Yeah.
And he's 88 years old.
Yeah.
And there's when you shake his hand at 88, you still feel this where you go, oh dang. And back in the day, when I was a kid, he would literally, if he wanted to, crush your hands and break all the bones in them. He was that strong. But because of that. Because that's literally deboning knife all day.
And, there are really only two ways to automate. Because the key to manufacturing is automation.
Right.
In general. Right. It's a multiplier.
Yeah, it's basically minimal input, maximum output, right? So how much can I get out of this machine? How fast can it come off? And how good is the yield coming off of it?
That's right.
Right.
And what's the waste? What's the
that's
all these
yield
things.
is the inverse of waste.
Of course.
Right.
Yes.
I was just clarifying.
I understand.
Not for your sake, for everyone else's sake, that they're
what are you
the
actually
same thing.
getting out? Yeah.
Right. What's my yield? Right.
For sure.
That was huge for plastic bags because you can't use all of what we used. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's always, because you have to trim edges off to get
Yes.
clean, because you're making a bag, so you have to seal 2 layers of plastic together, and so there's a level of you have to get rid of edges.
Well, and that's the same thing as in the restaurant business when you bought boneless, skinless chicken, it was more expensive than bone-in chicken.
Yeah, because they did the process for you,
and they had waste.
right?
Right,
Well,
their yield wasn't
as good.
Yes,
and
exactly.
they had more man hours. They had more input into it.
That's right.
Right, so your input goes up, the price goes up.
And so here's the thing where I'm talking about how it comes to online business. The reason why people
This
get
is
stuck.
why I buy loins from Costco.
Yep.
Because I'll buy the whole loin because I know how to cut steaks. Then I can cut them the exact size that I want instead of paying $3 to $5 more a pound for them to pre-cut it and pre-trim it and do all the stuff.
That's right.
But I don't need them to do that.
That's right.
But anyway, it's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing. And so from an online business perspective, or even a physical
Sure.
business that is wanting to scale,
Yep.
it's the same thing. they have like you have to think in a way to automate, and there's two ways to automate: through technology or through people. Employees or technology. That's really the only two, so far as I know, on how to.
Like technology, as long as it falls into the machine perspective.
Yeah.
Or you're saying online?
Online, technology in general.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like a technology as a machine,
Okay.
or technology as
software.
Active Campaign software.
Yeah, software, stuff like that.
As ClickFunnels, things like this. Okay. So most like people that want to be serious about online stuff, they don't treat it like a real business. They don't treat it like a real manufacturing business. They don't treat it in these ways. Actually, because, for example, like I remember I was repitching a program for a lady, and I was at this. It was actually at the Viralish headquarters.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but it was really cool. And they made this offer, and it was a $50,000 offer. I was like, that's a serious offer, right? Yeah. There's probably like 30 people there, 40 people there, something like that. And once I heard the offer, it was okay presented. It could have been presented way better. But I thought it was the actual offer was really good.
Right.
Like, because they was going to guarantee
lots of value.
million views.
Yeah.
Like they was going to. So I immediately recognized it as like a huge form of automation. Mm-hmm. And for anybody that was in the room, sorry. And for anybody in the room, all those people had, moderately successful, if not very successful businesses.
Right.
And they could only take so many people because they were actually
legit. They had a cap.
They had a cap, and it was
because of service, because of people, and they had constraints, which is
100%,
which is a very fascinating thing.
Constraints, yes.
There's a whole theory on it. It's called theory of constraint.
We'll have to talk about that.
Literally ran our manufacturing business based on the theory. Like there was theory of constraint was like this whole thing, right? Basically, the general, I don't remember exactly, but the general essence is like you have to fix constraints, right? Because one area of your whole process is really what's causing you the whole, like it's causing a larger problem than you think it is, right? So like if I can produce 10 million feet of plastic, but I can only print 3 million feet of plastic in a month, my main problem is my printing department, right? And then like my converting department can convert 20 million feet. Well, I don't have to, like in theory, I don't need to do anything in converting until these two catch up, right? Because I'm never going to hit capacity over here. My capacity is limited here.
That could actually, again, be applied directly to online businesses.
Show me. Tell me. I'm curious.
I mean, that's...
Tell me the exact, because this is where I think our conversation gets into I think it's there, but I want to hear your version of where you think that shows up.
Okay, so let's say someone has a coach. We have a
coaching business.
Oh, let me finish my story.
Sure.
And then we'll come back to that.
Yep.
No. I want to make sure that I get this story out.
Yeah.
So I was there at the headquarters, and they did the pitch,
they did the pitch,
and it was great. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So they were doing something like, we promise at least a million new viewers. The team's going to actually come out and film all your stuff for you. You're going to have 90 pieces of content over 90 different 90 days.
Yeah.
And if you already have a system, now it's not a good offer for someone that has no business.
Right.
If you have a business, and the thing you want more than anything is eyeballs, and the thing you're there for is the purpose of trying to build a team.
Yeah.
And now, if you're going to build a team to create online content for eyeballs, you are going to, let's think about this. You're going to need like 2 or 3 people, right? So if you have 3 employees, let's say you only pay them like $30,000 a year, like a teacher salary in Tennessee or something, right? $30,000 a year.
Yep.
Okay. and you're gonna have like 3 employees, that's like 90 grand by itself, and that's not gonna be people that's good at that.
Right.
Right. So if you get people that's good at that, they're gonna want at least probably like 60 grand a year, right?
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
We'll be generous.
Right. So maybe a manager and 2 helpers.
Sure.
Right?
Be generous.
So you got like 90, 60, and 60. What is that? 9. 12?
24,000
20
or 240,000.
$240,000, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you want to actually build a team. And
No,
do
22,100 or 210,000.
We can't do math.
No, I'm sorry. It was 210.
9.
No, it's 210.
210. Okay. 210,000. Anyway, the point, none of that matters. It just matters that, so that would be like between a $90,000 to a $210,000 to build a team.
To do this.
Right? Like I heard the other day that some of the big players like Hermosi and Cody Sanchez are spending like something like $1 million a month just
for
on
their
media team.
Makes sense.
Right? Of course it makes sense as long as you think of it as a manufacturing facility.
As long as you're getting return on that money.
That part. So here's what's happening. This is so crazy. And it doesn't matter if you're a little guy or a big guy. This is what makes sense. So if you look at, so they offered that for $50,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, okay, $50,000. There is no world in which I could train, build, or create a team that could produce that much yield in that short period of time.
Yeah.
With the most minimal input from our team.
Right.
Then that right there, that is the lowest cost solution.
Right.
Right? Because they basically, that company built a manufacturer, how to manufacture videos.
Right.
Right? Through a system.
Right. With employees or whatever.
That could scale up to capacity, to their capacity. Right? Now, because they had brought a guy in that had trained his team to do that. Okay? Now, here's the craziest part of it. Okay, so there's that 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, the thing is when it was first pitched, like they sold I think they had like 10 spots and they sold like 7. And the next day,
decent.
Yeah, but I was like, there's just no way that I ain't this selling yet, right?
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute, why? And so I reached out to some of one of the leaders and I was like, hey, just put me on stage for like
20 minutes,
like 12 to 20 minutes. I was like. Well,
you probably told them 12 minutes and then you were up there for 20.
20, yeah.
But it's all good.
But I said, hey, put me on, and she looked kind of strange at me. I was like, well, at first I'd asked her
how many did you close?
How many they close? And she said, like 7. I think she said 7 or 8, something like that. And I was like, do you want to sell out? And she said, yeah. And I was like, well, put me on stage for just a second. I was like, treat it like a testimonial or something. And she was like,
let me check.
Yeah. And so they brought me up. And then I spoke for like 12 to 20 minutes and they sold 12. And they were like, no more.
I can't sell anymore.
I can't sell anymore. But the thing is I think it ended up being only 11, but still it was more than what they, that's not like a story just to brag on like my sales ability. The point was I changed the perspective from a manufacturing perspective.
Right.
Because like if someone comes in, like a manufacturer is going to hire an engineer or hire a production manager or a plant manager or someone.
All of those things.
All of those things. And they're going to, and they're paying for the full skill set and everything that's coming that they're going to bring to the table for that. And that's way cheaper than
doing
them
it,
having to do that themselves.
Right.
Even if they can.
Right. That's why you don't get a lot of manufacturers in larger scale things, right? Like that's why you don't have new car manufacturers popping up left and right, because the barrier to entry is so high, right? Like they're so, and they have this mass momentum going on that the capital to get it going is massive.
Exactly.
It's so massive.
But if
you need something that's going to distinguish you from everybody else at that point as well.
Well, and just the capital to do it.
Well, no, but I'm saying assume that you could get the capital. You're probably going to get it from investors, right? You probably don't have.
And that's what Elon did.
Right, exactly. But But the reason he could do it is because he had something unique to the market.
Yep.
Right? If he was just going to make regular old gasoline guzzling cars, nobody's giving him the money.
Nope.
It's just not like there's no point.
Nope.
Because the return on that investment is going to be low. I might as well just dump it in whatever stock of whatever company that's already.
Because the market is already fully saturated with vehicles.
Right.
And so you would just be cannibalizing any other
You're going
market
to cannibalizing that's already there, and you can't, like, to put a team together that's going to outperform all those people that are already there, that are already doing their thing and are already in a system, and you're going to build a system from scratch is highly unlikely. It's just unlikely because it's a really challenging thing to get into something at that massive a scale.
For sure.
Right? Honestly, I think that's like Hormozi talks about liking service-based businesses a lot better. Well, why? Because the barrier entry is a lot lower.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like I can get into a business where I come fix HVAC units much easier.
You make a lot of money doing
it. I know. Then I can get into making HVAC units.
For sure.
Right? Like the startup capital is significantly less.
Well, the startup capital is significantly less, and the demand for the supply of installers of HVAC is much higher than the demand for a new HVAC system.
Exactly.
Unless there's some kind of new technological advance,
exactly.
to your point, that is a whole new USP. USP. Yeah.
Unique selling proposition.
And so, I almost said UPS. That's the reason why I got confused. I was like, wait, a new UPS. But so again, I feel like I'm still dancing around the issue about it being the same as manufacturing, because when you have an online business, like every asset, every piece of your business is like a manufacturing system. So,
okay.
So I have a business with a guy that teaches health things.
Yeah.
And he has a coaching program.
Sure.
Right. But originally he didn't start with a coaching program. Originally he did one-on-one stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And he went and helped people clean out their kitchen cabinets and everything like that. Right. There's no way to scale that. Like, so it was going back to the whittling your own thing. And so the value for him to make any money in a way so that he could dedicate his life to it.
He had to charge too much.
He had to charge too much, right?
Right.
And he felt weird doing that anyway, because it was like helping people save their lives and things like that. So he was like, I'm not going to, And so we created like a 5-day weight loss challenge thing. And when he did that, then all of a sudden a bunch of people come in.
Okay.
But then that wasn't it. Then I said you should do group coaching instead of
one-on-one.
One-on-one. And then he could charge less, have a bunch of people come in at the same time. But then here's the problem. You got to be, so.
Now you need a system.
Now you need a system. You got to have a system to manufacture that.
Okay.
And to deliver the product, to deliver the coaching, to deliver the communication methods, right? He's not going to call everybody up and, hey, coaching calls tonight, coaching calls tonight, coaching calls tonight, coaching calls tonight, right? So there has to be a system that's in development to ship the product.